Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. This is my match reaction debrief for Aston Villa 0, Juventus 0. If you are new around here, make sure you are subscribing. Smash the likes. Let's go. Let's go big. We're on 10 points in the Champions League, guys. Let's go big on the likes. Let's go 500 likes. And most importantly, comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. So, Champions League Villa. We can defend, guys. Champions League Villa, we can defend. And we love clean sheets in the Champions League. We've conceded one goal. And the one goal we conceded was that Tyrone Mings error penalty. So from open play, no one's carved us open. So big up the Villa defence in the Champions League. Absolutely love it. I thought Villa, fair play. That Tifo, the Villa villain, to bring the Villa villain back was quality. That's a proper Tifo. We've had those ones with like the players in the badge. The Lion was good, but that was the best one. The Villa villain Tifo, because it's got a bit more meaning, but it looked like a European Tifo. So fair play to the club. And again, hearing that anthem, it just doesn't get old. It's not boring. You still get the same shiver, hair standing up, just in awe of what's happening. I love hearing that anthem. I absolutely love it. And there's two big talking points for me today on this episode. Number one, well, you can see from the thumbnail. Number one is the goalkeeper, and number two is Boubacar Kamara. So, on the performance, I thought it was very good. And it was good because, yes, we all want to see goals. We want to see free-flowing, attacking football, dynamic, creating loads of chances. But you could just tell from the first 5 minutes that this game was going to be intense. It was going to be tactical. It was two good teams locking heads, going together. And somebody had to find the missing piece or find that added touch or find that bit of quality to get the goal. Because I thought, watching Villa, I thought we were really good defensively. I thought there was so many good performers with that defensive area, with our midfield. But then as a football fan, I watched Juventus and thought, they're a good team. They've got some really good players. And I was watching it thinking, you know, you obviously want Villa to win, and you're watching Villa thinking, I really want to get the victory. But I'm looking at them thinking, they're so good. They're so good in midfield, and to find a way to beat these is going to be really difficult. And it was difficult to create the chances. Like, neither side created ample amount of opportunities. It was so nip and tuck, and I can appreciate how good they were. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I can appreciate their players and the way that they play, and I understand what they're trying to do. You know, like when you watch some teams, like for example, like I watched Villa v Palace last weekend, right? And I'm watching a team have all of the ball, dominate play, who are the better footballing team. There's no two ways about it. Villa are a better team than Crystal Palace. But those type of teams have to find a different way to be able to pose us problems and to be able to get something from the game. And that fair play to them, they did it and they got the point. But we were the better team, in my opinion. Now, when I watched Villa v Juventus yesterday, I can appreciate two very, very good teams that are coached really well. And I was sat behind both the managers, and it was just so good to see how both of them works, and especially Emery, because, you know, I've sat behind him once before and thought he was brilliant. And last night I thought he was brilliant as well. Like, he's coaching with Morgan Rogers is impeccable. It's so good how he nurtures, coaches. He tries to get the best out of him. Positionally, he shows where he's got to go. And Emery is the conductor. Like, he may as well have this. And he may as well be like just moving players around, telling them where to go, because Emery's understanding is so good. And what I noticed from him as well is he's just watching how he works. I watched him for the first sort of like 5-10 minutes, and he's quite quiet. He's quite calm. And what I think he does is he's computing what the opposition are doing, and he's thinking. And then once he sort of grasped it, he's like moving everybody and telling them, and what he was doing with Kamara and what he was doing with Carlos, telling Carlos to get tighter at times. I just thought it was so fascinating. And both managers as well were always calling for calm. And I think this is like an important thing that we do and what we're trying to do. And it's important with these type of teams that just stay calm, stay focused, don't get flustered, because if things aren't going your way, don't sort of lose your way, if that makes sense. And I thought it was so fascinating to be behind Emery. And yeah, he does lose his shit sometimes, and he's up, he's down. There's one time like he lost it. He sat back down and he's like doing this, and then he's straight back up again, and he's like barking orders. Like it's so fascinating. And yeah, I thought he was great. So I thought he was a real good European tactical battle. I thought it was a really, really good game, and I really, really enjoyed it. So there were a lot of talking points, and there was one main talking point, which I think a lot of you feel like we were robbed. I do feel like there's a lot that think like that. And hearing Emery, hearing the players talking about Premier League, it gets given, and in this it doesn't. But I think there's two main points about this goal for me. Number one is to notice Diego Carlos's eye position. So we can see Carlos in here. And what you can see from Carlos is his eyes are fully focused on the ball, just like Morgan Rogers. He's got no intention of fouling the goalkeeper. All he wants to do is challenge for the ball. These goalkeepers are too protected. Whether it's Premier League or whether it's Champions League, they're too protected, because what are you basically saying? That goalkeeper has a free run at anything. That's not right. That goalkeeper shouldn't be able to have a free run and just be able to catch everything. Otherwise, what's the point? He's got the easiest job in the world off a corner then, because if you can't challenge him, he gets a free run at everything. So that's the first point, is Carlos's eyes are fully focused on the ball. Now, the next one is the most telling one for me, and it is that this goalkeeper doesn't have the ball in his hands. It's going through his hands, which is the problem for me. Because if that goalkeeper has caught that ball and it's in his hands like this, I could be like, fair enough a little bit, because he's got the ball, but he doesn't have the ball. If you actually look at his furthest, and we're going quite technical here on fingers. So if you look at his finger here, there, the ball is going through his hands. So the ball is going through his hands. He's arching backwards now because he doesn't have the ball. And whether Carlos is there or not, I'm not sure he gets to catch the ball anyway, because I think that this is going through his hands. I've got another image here of, you can see it a little bit on, you can see it on this one. Again, you can see the ball is going through the goalkeeper's, it's going through his hands, which I think is the most alarming part about it is that the ball is at the back of his hands now. So, yeah, I think there's no intentional contact there from Carlos to try and foul the goalkeeper. So that is the first big talking point of that episode. So, Villa fans, let me know your thoughts on it. But my second big talking point of this episode is going to be about a player that is coming back into our team, and that is Boubacar Kamara. Boubacar Kamara was everything that we've been lacking and needing within this Villa side. He was tremendous. His reading and understanding of the game is just exceptional. His sensing and reading danger is first class. His calmness to play in tight areas is brilliant. His recoveries, sensing danger, tracking runners. He's just an absolute midfield machine. And he wasn't even playing as a deep line midfielder against Juventus. They were switching up and playing in different areas and knowing when to go with him and Tielemans. He was able to find half spaces and find key players and play forward progressive passes. He was able to protect the back 3 and 4. He was winning all of his aerial duels. He was winning ground duels. Boubacar Kamara is the foundation and the structure of this Aston Villa team. And we are a far better team when he's in it. And he has to play for me week in, week out. Because I've said it before, Kamara is our Rodri. You take Rodri out Man City, they're not as good. You take Kamara out of Villa, we lose a lot. So for me, Kamara was absolutely fantastic. And I think he played so well. And I'm just so buzzing that he's back because we needed that performance from him. We needed to see the Boubacar Kamara of last year, and we saw it. And this was one of the big things that I really liked, finding this little pocket between players. Juventus are pretty much a team made up of central midfielders. Koopmeiners, Thuram, Locatelli. They're a team that are just solid at playing through that first phase of possession. They keep the ball really well. They suffocate midfield. And Kamara was able to find this little half space in between players to play that progressive forward pass. But what I was talking about, what I've spoke about Villa and this double pivot is last year, it was like that. Kamara, Luiz. This year, I feel like it's more of this. But having that understanding of Kamara, like Kamara's ahead of Tielemans here. So there is that tactical understanding of both players of when one goes, one has to sit in there. And we're starting to see players like Kamara play a little bit further forward. The shape of the team here is absolutely perfect for me. And it's what we've been talking about. Because what we've got, Bailey wide right, Digne wide left. There's your width. We want to have a front 5. This team is built up in possession to be a front 5. The front 5 comes from Leon Bailey, Luca Dean, Ollie Watkins, Rodgers, and McGinn getting into that area there. Then you will have a back 3, Cash, Carlos, Pau, a midfield sitter protecting the back 3, and a midfielder that can play a little bit further forward in possession. This is the exact playbook that we are trying to get into every single game. And then what it's all about is finding a player like Rodgers who can link up with Watkins. You've got width out wide with 2 players that are out wide. Kamara helps this massively. But what he also helps with is the defensive work when we've been transitioned on. Now, this was our free kick or corner that we are being transitioned on. But notice what we've got. One player in Matty Cash. 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 players that are structurally set defensively to defend this transition move from Juventus. Now, what you get from Boubacar Kamara is you get the ability to track runners with his tactical defensive ability, because if you look, he's tracking where? He's tracked this run. He's sensed the danger, but we're also getting back set with Cash going to be moving over to shut out Yildiz. And then we've got 2 players here. We've got a back 4. We've got Carlos coming back as well. So defensively, we're a lot better on transition with Boubacar Kamara in the team as well. So I think Boubacar Kamara's positioning needs talking about, because we were very, very good. And he helped us so much in this game. And I think if we go and take a look at the average positions from this game as well, what you'll be able to see is that Boubacar Kamara was screening the right back role. So you can see the area between Cash and Carlos. That's where Kamara's positioned. But you can also see where he was picking up that ball in those more advanced areas as well. So I think what we're starting to see is, yes, it's a double pivot, but there is more license for them to play on the same line. And when one goes, they can move around a little bit more like this. So I think Kamara helped. I think what we saw was Tielemans that was able to get in a bit more of an advanced position. You can see him going on that sort of left-hand side role. But by having Kamara that was sitting and screening the back 3, what you see is that when I spoke about Pau Torres being too far to the left and going into the opposition half, look where Pau was. Pau was more defensive-minded, more central, next to Diego Carlos. Cash was advanced, but not too far advanced. The balance of the team was just there for me. We've got the width with Bailey, width with Luca Dean. So it was just far better. And it was more pleasing to see that the team had balance, which was good, because we did create chances. We had the Watkins one. We had the John McGinn one. We had the one at the end. We had a better XG than Juventus. So fine margins in football, like Locatelli blocking that McGinn shot in the second half. We'll talk about him in a second. So if we take a look at some of Villa's stats then, there's a lot of good stuff in here. Emi Martinez, 93% passing accuracy. Fantastic. Luca Dean, 82. Diego Carlos, 96. Matty Cash, 100%. Matty Cash, 100% passing accuracy. We've got John McGinn, 88%. Subs that are coming on, Duran, Jaden, 100%. We've got Bailey, 70. Watkins, 54. But the big thing here is the aerial duels, which we were winning. We've got Boubacar Kamara won 3 of his 3 aerial duels. We've got Carlos won 1 of 2. Cash won 1 of 1. Bailey won 1 of 1. Ollie won 1 of 2. Rogers won 1 of 2. So the Digne won 1 of 1. And then you look at the actual duels that we won. Digne won 6 of 10. Tielemans 5 of 13. Cash 6 of 12. Bailey 6 of 12. Watkins 3 of 9. McGinn 3 of 6. So Rogers 3 of 13. So, his stats weren't great, were they? But we were winning the aerials. We were winning the duels well. Possession was 46 for Villa, 54 for Juventus. 1.22 XG for Villa, 0.39 for Juventus. We had 3 corners, 410 passes for Villa, 494 for Juventus. So Villa were good. Locatelli was very, very good. He was class. He was. He was brilliant. 91% passing accuracy, 6 of 9 duels won. Conceição, 13 of 18 duels that were won. Yildiz, 10 of 12 duels were won. He's got 92% passing accuracy. Gatti, 92%. Kalulu, 95. Koopmeiners, 86. Juventus really look after the ball very, very well. Their possession is like insane at how they look after the ball. And it just shows their build-up from defence to midfield. What we spoke about on the preview, to be fair, their build-up is just really, really good. So it was a solid performance from Villa that has took us on to 10 points now. So if we have a look at the Champions League table, we just one place out of that top 8. You've got 3 teams in front of us on 10 points. We've conceded 1 goal. Inter Milan have conceded no goals. They're on 13 points. So I think 16 points is enough to get you top 8. So a win against Celtic is a must. I want to beat them anyway. That takes us on to 13. 2 away games. If we can go unbeaten now in the next 3 Champions League games, I think we get top 8. I mean, look at Real Madrid, 6 points. They're in danger of not making it. But if it stays as it does, and we stay 9th and Real Madrid stay 24th, that's who we'd play in the next round. So yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, so I think it's going to be interesting to see how the next 3 games go in the Champions League. But from a Villa point of view, really pleased with the defensive performance. We can keep clean sheets. We can do it if we find that right balance. So, yes, hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. Villa fans, let me know your thoughts. Let's try and get 500 likes. Comment your thoughts. Up the Villa.